Fed Chairman Jerome Powell's latest remarks on the U.S. economy and what might happen with interest rates. I got that for you guys in this video. Also, Israel Prime Minister's comments on how long the war may be in Israel. I'll give you the details here on that, as well as an economic firm says that the UAW strike has already cost the industry $7.7 billion. Wow. $7.7 billion. And remember here that they have already been offered at least a 21% raise from the three different unions or the three different automakers, Ford, GM, and Stellantis, which offers 16 or produces 16 different brands. The UAW initially wanted 46% raises and to go down to a 4-day work week and to go back to traditional pensions. And they're saying a 21% raise is not enough. They want a lot more. Ironically, the healthcare strike by Kaiser, which was almost 100,000 workers, just ended. And they actually accepted a 21% raise. So you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. With a minimum wage of $25 in California and $23 in other states. You can let me know your thoughts if 21%, if the UAW is just being too greedy or not. I don't know. I think it's maybe getting a little out of hand here. These other unions are settling it much faster. I don't know. I think it's getting a little bit out of hand here. Jerome Powell, head of the Fed, says inflation is still too high, which means more interest rate hikes could be coming, and lower economic growth is likely needed to bring it down. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell acknowledged recent sign of cooling inflation compared to last year, but last year's inflation was at 40-year highs, but said the welcoming slowing in prices was not enough yet. This means inflation is still going up. You got to remember that this is government talk. So prices are still going up in relation to last year. Here is what Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said. Take a listen here.
Inflation readings turned lower over the summer, a very favorable development. The September inflation data continued that downward trend, but were somewhat less encouraging. And shorter-term measures of core inflation over the most recent 3 and 6 months are now running below 3%. But these shorter-term measures are often volatile. And in any case, inflation is still too high, and a few months of good data are only the beginning of what it will take to build confidence that inflation is moving down sustainably toward our goal. We cannot yet know how long these lower readings will persist or where inflation will settle over coming quarters. While the path is likely to be bumpy and to take some time, my colleagues and I are united in our commitment to bring down inflation sustainably to 2%. In the labor market, strong job creation has met a welcome increase in the supply of workers, due both to higher participation and to a rebound of immigration to pre-pandemic levels. Many indicators suggest that while conditions remain tight, the labor market is gradually cooling. Job openings have moved down well below their highs and are now only modestly above pre-pandemic levels. Quits are back to pre-pandemic levels as well, and the same is true of the wage premium earned by those who change jobs. Surveys of workers and employers show a return to pre-pandemic levels of tightness, and indicators of wage growth show a gradual decline toward levels that would be consistent with 2% inflation over time. To date, declining inflation has not come at the cost of meaningfully higher unemployment, a highly welcome development, but also a historically unusual one. Healing of supply chains, in conjunction with the rebalancing of demand and supply in the labor market, has allowed disinflation without substantially weaker economic activity. Indeed, economic growth has consistently surprised to the upside this year, as most recently seen in the strong retail sales data released earlier this week. Forecasters generally expect GDP to come in very strong for the third quarter before cooling off in the fourth quarter and next year. Still, the record suggests that a sustainable return to our 2% inflation goal is likely to require a period of below-trend growth and some further softening in labor market conditions.
So let me know your thoughts here. Do you think they will be raising interest rates here yet again this year? Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. U.S. State Department issues worldwide cautionary advisory for all citizens overseas. And Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu warns of a, quote, long war. So be prepared. Saying, quote, this will not be a short-term engagement. Quote, this is a long war, and we will need your continuous support. As the Palestinian military group Hamas said, an Israeli airstrike in the north of Gaza City killed the head of its Hamas-led security forces. President Joe Biden and Egypt's president made an agreement to allow humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip, according to Egypt's readout of the leader's phone call, lending hope to civilians of the area.
People trapped in Gaza could receive aid as early as tomorrow morning. President Biden has said in the agreement that if the aid crosses over into Gaza, the United Nations will come to distribute it. Well, ABC News' Matt Rivers is in Cairo with more. He's been there for the last few days. Matt, what is the latest there on this aid issue?
Yeah, James, we're really just in wait-and-see mode at this point. We know what President Biden said, that there has been an agreement reached to allow aid into the country. He said that in order for that to happen, some repair work, some road repair work needs to happen around that border crossing because of Israeli airstrikes. And he said because of that repair work, in order to get it in shape, in order to accept all of those aid trucks that are waiting on the Egyptian side of the border to come in, that work has to be done. It might not be until tomorrow local time here on Friday before those trucks can roll. The questions that we have outstanding, though, and we've posed these questions to the Egyptians, to the Americans as well, no one seems to be able to give us an exact answer, is how long exactly will the border be open for? How many trucks exactly will be allowed to cross? You heard President Biden say 20. We have a source within the Egyptian food bank here in Cairo telling us it could be 30. The question is how many trucks will be allowed to cross, what materials will they be allowed to bring, and what kind of an impact will that make? James, I think the big question that's outstanding at this point is if we're talking about 20 or 30 trucks, that is a drop in the bucket compared to the aid that is actually needed for the hundreds of thousands of people that remain trapped in Gaza.
Yeah, and Matt, there's a lot of questions about whether aid can get in, but I know also conversations about foreign nationals who are stuck in Gaza who want to get out. What's happening with that?
Yeah, so that's been the quid pro quo, according to the Egyptians, from the start. They said that they would not be willing to allow foreign nationals, those with foreign passports as well as dual nationals, to come into Egypt unless aid can get in. Well, now there's an agreement to allow aid in. What we've heard from the Egyptians is that we do expect foreign nationals and those with dual nationalities to be allowed out. But like the questions that surround the aid distribution, how long will the border be open for? How long will it take for all those people to get processed? Exactly how many foreign nationals and dual nationals are we expecting to come across? These are open questions, but you have to imagine that there will be a vetting process for those people. It's not as simple as just opening up a gate and allowing a bunch of people to come through. It will take time to process each one of those people who want to come to the Egyptian side. So if the border is only open for a couple of hours, realistically speaking, how many people can you process? These are the kinds of open questions that we still have, and why we're watching the Rafah border crossing so closely overnight tonight and into tomorrow.
The U.S. Department of State issued a worldwide cautionary advisory asking U.S. citizens overseas to exercise increased caution due to increased tensions in various locations around the world. So I will keep you up to date. If you haven't yet, subscribe down below, click the bell icon, and don't forget to like and share these videos. You can click here to watch my most recent videos. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.